Hello everyone, this is my video that I was going to attach for our week 2 assignment for BUS270. Basically the assignment was we have to answer the infamous question during a interview that you'll get of tell me a little bit about yourself. The way I want to answer this question and the way I've done it in the past, and I feel like it's done pretty well, is I use this as a way to kind of elaborate on my experience in a way that tells kind of my story, but also kind of helps add some detail to the experience list that they already see on my resume. I'm not going to try and be like, oh, well, I went here, then I went here, then I went here, but I kind of elaborate on what I did when I was there. Obviously, you use your keywords and you use your descriptions, but that's like one sentence maybe. This allows me to kind of be like, oh, this is what I actually did, and this is who I worked with, and blah, 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 and how things progressed over time. So I'll go over a quick kind of like example answer of how I would answer it. Not necessarily saying that this is exactly how I would answer it, because it does depend on the job. Like, for example, I actually interviewed for a position about a week ago. That was a very technical position with a particular manufacturer that is involved in the Artemis program for NASA. It's a rocket manufacturer. I'm not going to name names because it's kind of proprietary, but they are in the process of building a new rocket that is going to be used to go to the moon. So cool little job there. But the position is for inventory, logistics, control, kind of supply chain, kind of in that realm. So I answered in a way that was much more tailored to that position while using my experience to kind of tell my story and how I got to different things. So basically what I'll do is I will try and kind of rehash that and answer this question as the interviewer did ask me that question during the interview. Yeah, basically this is what it is. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Okay. Basically, I originally grew up in Florida. That's why I am interested in this position. I grew up around the space industry. My parents currently both work for different manufacturers out at Cape Canaveral. One of them for Boeing, one of them for a private contractor. So yeah, I grew up around that whole situation. When I graduated from high school, I did graduate from Merritt Island High, so again, local. I graduated with a honors degree, or an honors diploma in automotive technology and a focus on automotive engineering. I was very fortunate to be involved in a technical program that was actually a competition sponsored by Ford and AAA that gave me the opportunity with a full ride scholarship to attend Universal Technical Institute. I eventually elected to go to the North Carolina campus because it is partially sponsored by NASCAR. And I wanted to kind of focus on motorsports, racing, stuff like that, because unfortunately during the time that I graduated in 2011, there just really wasn't much going on out at the Space Center. There just wasn't much opportunity. So I kind of focused on, okay, racing is a really cool industry and I definitely have the tools for it. So I came up here and did all of this, graduated with honors from NASCAR Technical, and then moved into a couple lower end shop jobs, working for like your discount tire and a dealership, doing light diagnostics and mechanical work, mostly just replacing parts, oil changes, stuff like that. And then finally got a really good opportunity with a company called JRI Shocks. And they also have a sister company that is called MSI Defense Solutions. Basically what they did is they built shocks for race cars, so drag cars, drift cars, dirt cars, you name it, pretty much everything. They had something for it. And then on the military side, they actually built shocks for MRAPs, Humvees, small jets, stuff like that. Can't really talk about too much about what I did because I actually do have a non-disclosure for up to 10 years. and I think I'm like year 8 or something like that. But yeah, so that was a really awesome opportunity. I started out in the parts department and then moved into service. But that's when I started figuring out that maybe working on cars and working on stuff isn't quite what I wanted to do, because I was really, really successful in the parts department. I actually really enjoyed it, working with the kitting and getting stuff together. I also helped in shipping, receiving, getting parts in and out. That's when I started getting an idea of what it takes to actually ship stuff internationally, stuff like that. So from there, I got a really great opportunity and moved up to a real race team, a high-end race team with Joe Gibbs Racing. From in there, I was shipping and receiving. So again, shipping orders in, shipping orders out. It didn't matter if it was a 5-cent bolt or a $50,000 engine. I pretty much had my stamp of approval on it, knowing where it was at all times while it was inventory, putting it on shelves if it was a smaller part, or delivering it to the specific departments that it needs to go to, especially raw materials like sheet metal to the fab shop, or big blocks of aluminum or steel that needed to go to CNC. Sometimes before they could go to CNC, they had to get shipped back out for heat treat, all kinds of different things. I pretty much touched every piece of hardware that went through that building, coming in or going out, minus the cars, the full cars themselves, basically. And that's where I really, really dug deep into my experience of what it takes to be a successful logistics department. I really got a taste for it. The only thing that I really didn't do was like the purchasing side, but I was very interested in it and I got to experience it. I just wasn't formally trained in it. But I had a couple mentors that were really good. An unfortunate situation saw me departing from there. It was just a kind of where they were going and how volatile the NASCAR industry is. Unfortunately, I had to part ways. It wasn't anything negative or anything like that. It's just how the industry is, unfortunately. But from there, I ended up moving to a performance car industry that does street performance stuff. Again, shipping, receiving, inventory. They were a smaller company, so I did get quite a bit of experience in sales as well, which I do have a retail background just from like my high school days. I worked at a grocery store and a hotel, stuff like that. So it still fit. And then from that company, I moved up into where I'm at currently with Hendrick Automotive Group, where again, I'm in the parts department. I work on the inventory constantly. I'm in control of pretty much all the logistics in and out of the building. I don't work in shipping and receiving now. We do have a shipping and receiving guy, but his title is kind of less formal. It is more kind of on the parts department to get everything in line. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now and kind of where everything pertains to it. I did decide to return to school while I was at Joe Gibbs Racing, and I've been working on that part-time just because I work full-time, and most of the time work full-time is like 10-hour days. But I have been working on a degree, and thankfully by the end of this semester, I will be graduated. So I will have the degree to go with the experience, to go with the pretty much everything else. So by all means, I can answer more questions if you're interested. But other than that, I think that kind of sums it up. So yeah, that's kind of how I answered it. It's a little bit more long-winded. I think I kind of summed it up a little bit. But yeah, it allows me to kind of cut and dry. This is my life story as it pertains to the position. I know they don't care about what I did when I was a kid or where I came from or my upbringing or anything like that, except for the little pieces of information that pertain to the position, either to the culture, like I said, I grew up Kennedy Space Center, blah, 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 or obviously my experience and how it pertains to the position specifically. So that's my answer. By all means, I'd love to see your replies and what you think. Sorry, it's a little bit long. If you don't watch the video, I am going to do like a quick write-up as well, but this, I think, was a better way of answering the question to its full extent. So thank you.